Alignment with God will make your walk smooth. We're going to get into it. Hi, I'm Joe. Welcome back. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. Aligning ourselves with God will absolutely make our stride smooth. I don't know why we continue to live life roughly. Do you want to walk smooth paths? Align yourself with God. That is the easiest work, or actually, that is the only work we really need to do. And that is honestly the hardest work, is just making sure that you stay in alignment with God. But after that, everything will just continuously work out with precision in our favor. Whether it looks like things are not working out, you can rest assured they are absolutely working out. Even when we're met with rejection, we know the rejection is just direction to everything that God has promised us anyway. So in essence, it is always working out. And you will begin to actually see the alignment that you are with God just in the most random moments in your life that are just confirmation every step of the way that you are in God's alignment. Like, you will begin to live magically. For instance, it will be the subtlest ways, but they're not so subtle, right? They're not so, you won't discount it anymore as coincidence. For instance, maybe you're going to, make some copies, and you look and you need to print maybe 15 pages. And then you just grab a stack of paper, right? And throw it in the printer. And sure enough, you grabbed 15 pages to print the 15 documents you need to print. Like, you didn't sit there and you didn't count out 15. You just grabbed a random amount and they ended up being the exact amount. Or perhaps you're just out and about, walking, through your day, and all of a sudden you are met with someone and you want to perhaps you want to gift them, and you're like, I want to gift them $25. I don't know if I have $25 on me. You open your wallet and there's $25. Or perhaps you are, meeting a friend and you're just guesstimating, like, you know what? I should arrive somewhere around 2:20. And then sure enough, you arrive at exactly 2:20. Those are examples of you living in complete alignment with God. Everything you do becomes smooth. Everything you say becomes a reality. And God is showing you in those moments that seem small, but they are not small, that it always works out for your benefit. He is making your paths smooth. That is to live in the miraculous. That is only achieved by living in alignment with God. That is our work, aligning ourselves with the divine and then staying in that alignment. But really, once you're in that alignment with God, and then you see how He operates, as long as you stay in that alignment, all you want to do and be is in that alignment, because your stride is smooth. Everything is working for your benefit. Even in the things that you seem like maybe you're being rejected, you are just being actually directed to everything that is for you. When one door closed, here comes many doors opening. When a job ends, oh, well, here is a job that's beginning. It always just seems to work out. As I'm getting ready to travel abroad, And actually, I am abroad by the time you listen to this message. But as I'm getting ready to travel abroad, I remember I was saying, God, like I don't have the funds. I don't know where this money is going to come from. And sure enough, God said, you don't, I was saying, God, should I be putting this on a credit? I don't know if I should be putting this on a credit. I need to hear from you. You know what God told me? You don't need credit. And when he said that, I was stunned. I was like, all right, well, I can't wait to see this. And sure enough, God infused me. He brought the work that I was meant to do. Now, I worked hard, but he brought the work that I was meant to do in a single month. And when I looked up, I had more in my quote unquote travel fund than I would have imagined would have been possible in a single 4 weeks. But God did that. And he did that right on time. He didn't cause me to work super hard for 6 months to equal the travel fund. He didn't cause me to work hard for even 2 months. He just said, let's do it for 4 weeks. You're going to work hard for 4 weeks doing the things you love anyway. And you're going to have all the money more than you would have expected because you're in alignment with me. Here comes God right on time. Right on time. I have a to-do list of things that I need to get done before, I go abroad. Some of that is tax information, canceling a couple subscriptions that I know I'm not going to use while I'm in home. And when I went to check my to-do list the other day, I thought, oh my goodness, everything is scratched off of this list. I don't even know when I did it all, but it's already done. And here it is. I'm leaving in about 48 hours and it's already done, except for one thing, which is just me to leave it for the last, which is the biggest thing. All of my business taxes and also my W-2 taxes, none of that has been done. I got extensions for all of it, but none of it has been done. And of course, I left it for the last because when I look at my to-do list, it seems like the heaviest, right? It is the heaviest. And that is what God does also. He shows us what's a priority. He shows us what to do today, tomorrow, and the next day. So as I kept looking at my list, on what needed to be done, every time I saw taxes, I was like, okay, that I am in no energy to do that today. Of course, I was in no energy to do that because I was working so hard the last month, right? On the work that God wanted me to do. So I didn't have any energy to get that done. Today, as we speak, 48 hours before I leave, I look at my list and everything is done except the one thing, and that is the taxes. And I said, all right, well, we getting that done today. In fact, the moment I looked at it, I kind of just felt like, you know what? I can get this done now. Like I'm doing laundry. I have to record, but really I have this gap of time as I'm doing laundry before I record, so you don't hear the laundry going off in the background. I have this block of time to kind of just get all my tax stuff together and email them off to my accountant. So to my surprise, there are a couple things that are so shockingly surprising, but this is how God works. When I sat down to do my W-2 taxes, again, I don't know when it happened, but I had already gathered all my W-2s, gathered, all the contribution donations that I contribute during the year. My medical tax stuff was all done. Like it was already done there and uploaded. I just really needed to attach them to a single email and send them to my accountant. So I did that. Took me maybe 10 minutes, if that. Done. So now I'm like, okay, great. Well, now all I have to do is the business taxes. Now, here's the thing. For my business that I was in for the last 5 years, which was a staffing agency, we officially dissolved that business last year. But this is my final tax season for that year. The hardest part about doing those taxes, really for me, the hardest part is about gathering all the bank statements. Like it's tedious. You got to go month over month, gathering all the statements and attaching it to the email. Everything else is already done. So as I logged in, and that business bank has already closed. Like I closed it the end of last year. Of course, as you close the business, you got to close the business banking with the business. For sure. If you haven't done that and you're in the same situation as me, close it, because if you keep a business banking open, a business bank account rather open while you dissolve the LLC, IRS is going to think you're still doing business. They're going to want that money in that account. So you got to close the both of them. So as I closed that account last year, I saw that it was still attached to the open accounts that I have open, my personal accounts. And I had spoken to the bank at some point and I was like, why is this account still open? And I closed it. And they were like, no, it's open for your benefit because as you might need more information, it's going to stay open for a while. And I said, oh, okay, great. So every time I log into do my personal banking, I see that the closed business account is still open. It was just on my account yesterday. Today, when I sit down to do the business taxes, wouldn't you know it? Of course, the information is not there anymore. Totally gone. So I'm like, okay, I need to collect the last year's statements. I need to do this tedious work. Why don't I have access to this account? So I make a phone call, a 2-minute phone call. And literally, the agent says, oh, yeah, we have removed that access. It's gone away, but don't worry. We'll send you all the documents that you need for your taxes in one single email. We'll send that out right now. Voila. Done, done, and done. The one thing that I found was the most tedious thing to do about my business taxes is going one by one, month over month, to collect all the information, to send it to my tax person. And right on time, right when I waited to the last minute, because I'm just going based on how I feel, God diverted or gave me a detour to not have to download one by one and do all that tedious work, but he removed the access from the account so I can make a single phone call so the bank could do all the work. Essentially, all I got to do now is just forward that same email to my tax guy. Done. That is how God operates when you're in alignment with Him. He makes it so smooth. Now, if we are not in alignment with God, for instance, or if we are not in tune with God, which is alignment with God, I could have got ticked. I could have got frustrated. Like, oh, where is this business? Right when I needed the business account information is gone. Why isn't it there? I could have spent hours trying to get through it. Frustration, energy could have been exerted, just being pissed. Instead, I was like, I know that this is serving me. If I don't have access to this account and I got to make this call, I know God is getting ready to serve me. He served me in the best possible way by allowing the bank to do all the work for me. And all I got to do is forward everything they send me in one single swoop. That's going to take me seconds. I don't need to do the tedious work. It's already done. But that is what God does when we align ourselves with Him. He makes our paths so smooth. It is like we're floating on a magic carpet. Anything we need, the moment we need it, it is there. The work becomes easier because He's doing the work. God says we are to do what is ours to do, and He will do what is His. And usually His load is always heavier than ours when we give it to Him. But the most of us, we're trying to control things. We're trying to hold it all together. We don't believe that He is as incredible as He says. So we feel that we got to do things on our own strength. So then God allows us to carry the heavy load. God allows us to work harder and not smarter. For me, that term work smarter, not harder has got a whole different meaning now. For me, to work smarter and not harder is to give God the load. And as I give Him the load, I just check back with God and I say, God, you just tell me what is mine to do, and I'll get my part done. He will give you back, if he gives you anything back, a little sliver. And usually that little sliver is like playtime, feels like nothing. It's like, oh, you just want me to send an email? The sliver of work God had me to do with my taxes was simply to forward an email. He didn't want his baby girl on the last 48 hours getting ready to pack up everything and still having to record. He didn't want his daughter to have to sit down and do this tedious work of getting the taxes done. He said, allow the bankers to do that. And you just simply forward all the work that they do. Look at God. You know, I don't know how to say it, how many more different ways I can say it. All I'm saying is give up the strive. Align yourself with the creator of it all and allow him to bring everything to you. Here is something else he brought to me. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I was reached for it. I'm not going to say yet, unless you follow me on my socials, you already know who it is, but I'm not ready to say yet. But I was reached by this giant brand. It's a global brand. And I was reached not one, not twice, but 3 times. They were asking for me to collaborate with them. Now, I will say this. The brand, even though they're global, they're not in alignment with the things I'm passionate about, which is sustainability, for instance. For the most part, that's what it is, sustainability. They're not. So as I got the first email, and I was, thank you, God, right? I'm honored that they reached little old me by way of the ultimate love letter. And what this brand said is, we love what you're doing on the ultimate love letter. We would love for you to collaborate. We would love to collaborate with you. And I said, but they're not in alignment. They're global. They're giant. My dad loves them, but they're not in alignment with me. So I met with my parents. I went into spirit, praying to God, I'm honored, but this is not aligned. But I'm still sitting on it, right? Not saying yes or not saying no, just sitting with it. Then they emailed me again, right? Like maybe 3 days later, like, hey, just want to follow up. We would love to do this with you. I let that email go too. But now I'm thinking a little bit more about it, but I didn't respond. Before I could even come to terms with what I'm going to do, they emailed me a 3rd time. That was just today. And now the numbers have changed. They offered, free products, of course. They've offered commission, of course. They've offered, cash, based on, of course, based on production, based on sales, right? Typical. But this 3rd email was different. They basically were offering straight up sponsorship money. And the email got even more personal. And that's when it really got my attention. And I said, okay, God, something is here, God. Clearly, God, you're telling me something is here for me. And God is making sure that I won't miss the opportunity. When we align ourselves with God, he will make sure an opportunity doesn't miss you. Now, see, as I was standing in my truth, just waiting for spirit, for God to tell me whether I should work with this brand or not, they came back to me. Like they have been chasing me down. When I got that 3rd email, I said, oh, they want your girl bad, which felt good, right? But this is what God does when we align ourselves with him. And isn't it interesting, the timing? As I'm getting ready to travel now and I'm leaving my clients behind. Yes, I have a travel fund that I will be managing well while I'm traveling. I won't be earning, quote unquote, perhaps while I'm traveling, but here comes this huge brand offering the resources that perhaps I will be earning while I'm traveling. We're going to see about this. But as they emailed me back, I emailed them one question and I said, okay, I said straight up, without, I'll just say this differently because I want to say this differently, a more aligned way of saying it. I am honored that you reached me, is what I told them. Within your company, I would love to look at brands that are aligned with a more sustainable side, which is me. I'm all about sustainability. I'm all about preserving God's earth. Immediately they responded back literally within 4 minutes. And they said, absolutely. And they gave us, here's all the information. Please take a look at all these different brands. We would love to do something with you. Look at God, y'all. I'm going to cry. God does this. When we're brave enough to stay in alignment with Him, when we're brave enough to stay in alignment with our truth, when we know our worth, when we no longer feel like we're not worthy of big collaborations, what do we have to offer? It's just little old us. But we know that as we stand in our truth, as we are aligned with God, and as we really just give away our gifts, the way that is authentic to us, just showing our true self, our true nature, then we understand that that energy is powerful. It's magnetic, and you will draw in. I guarantee you, friend, you're going to draw in collaborations. You're going to draw in money. You're going to draw in resources. You're going to draw in people that are looking for that authenticity. That's magnetic. That is our birthright. That's the magic of God. And as you continue to stand in that truth, you can safely say yes or no, knowing that the money is going to find you anyway, as long as you're doing things in alignment with God, with your authenticity, with your love. Follow the love. Following the love will always bring everything that serves us, everything that's meant to support us. Follow God for God's sake and allow Him to make your stride smooth. If you're not in alignment with God, you are working and you are living too roughly. There's a softer way. There is a more rapid way. And that is by alignment with the divine. Get to work. Align yourself with Him and allow Him to bring it all to you. Thank you so much for joining this combo. I want to turn your attention to our official merch that's available on toll.shop. The link is linked in our show notes. Also, our book, Fake As Vegan, a book on balance, is available on Amazon. Make sure you grab a copy there and make sure you go back and review it. I'm honored to see what you have to say about our book. Also, I want to turn your attention also to 4Ocean, which is a beautiful sponsorship that I have, a collaboration with them. Every single purchase on 4Ocean site comes with a 10% off discount when you use our code. It's linked in the show notes. And every purchase also removes most importantly, removes 5 pounds of debris from our oceans, rivers, and our coastline. Talk about doing God's work. Right? And if you're being led to support this mission, I have also linked a couple of links where you can give an offering to reciprocate energy, and I am praying over every single gift. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, love yourself and love others. We'll chat again real soon. Bye for now.